Alright guys, welcome along to the unilateral leg press tutorial. Now, one of the biggest key concepts to understand is where my foot goes on the sled above me is really important in determining which tissue or which musculature is getting biased and focused on. Okay, so essentially the lower I have my foot on this platform here, the more when I get to the bottom, my calf is going to be smashing into my hamstring. In other words, this knee joint is getting very bent into knee flexion. So the lower I go, the more my quad is stretching, therefore the more that quad is getting utilized. The higher I go, the more at the bottom my hip is getting smashed, and as you'll see here, there's not really too much change in my knee, so this is much more of a hip bias or a glute bias motion, okay? And then from there, the wider I go, the more I'm stretching out through my inner thigh, and the narrower I go, the more I'm stretching out through my glute. So again, if I wanted a bit of a combination of these, I may, for example, want a little bit of a quad and inner thigh focus, I would come low and somewhat wide. If I want more of a glute focus, I would come somewhat high and very slightly narrow. Again, making sure the knee is not collapsing in, but that's a general approach that you can take depending on which tissue that you're trying to bias. Okay, so let's come through a bit of a demonstration. So I'll just go for a bit of a balanced or kind of an omni bias, okay? So nothing too specific. I'm gonna go kind of middle of the sled here. Right, strong in the unrack. Big focus when we're doing unilateral or single leg is I want to keep the weight onto the same side hip. I'm going to use my handles to pull me down into the seat beneath me. From that position there, I'm using that non-working leg and stomping it into the floor and creating a bit of friction back and forth. That creates a really good foundation and base for me to work off of. From this position, leaning back into the sled, coming down until I feel a really good range without my pelvis tucking up, and then pushing nice and strong back to the starting position. Okay, let's go for a couple of reps here. Again, I really just want to cue you guys that you need to be pulling this and shrugging yourself into the seat, because when we get more weight onto the sled here, your natural affinity is that you're going to slide up and out of it, okay? So we have to pull ourselves in to keep this pelvis nice and stable. Beautiful. And that is your unilateral or single leg press tutorial.